I honestly don't feel like there's anything more important than this, than the simplicity of coming back to the present moment, of feeling your breath, of tuning into your senses, of being so deeply in your body, in your life, that you remember what it really means to be alive. Here, now. Let this moment be so sacred, a remembering of who you were before the world told you who you should be. I see you. I feel you. Welcome to the Freya podcast. Welcome home. Hello, everybody. Welcome to this week's Freya podcast. Today, we're going to be talking about a subject that just kind of popped into my head. I wasn't supposed to film this at all right now, and I was just like, okay, I need to go film this. And so we're going to be talking about being seen and how incredibly triggering that can be for someone who is not comfortable with their emotions and being seen in their emotions. And when I say seen, I mean really being seen for who you are at your absolute core, and not the version of yourself that you want people to see, not the perfect people pleasing, I'm doing so good in my life version that we put on social media, or the family pictures that were perfect, and like to be seen in all that we are. And all that we are means that there are parts that we don't like. We don't really like these parts of ourselves. We're ashamed of them, or we feel a certain way about them. And then it's so hard to be seen in that when we're not allowing ourselves to actually see ourselves in those moments. So I want to speak on this, and this is what is coming up for me right now, is how when I started dating again after separating from the father of my children, I had this desire in my heart to be with a man that would finally see me for who I am, like not what you see here on camera, not my looks, not my height, not my smile, not my eyes, not my body, me, my heart, like who I am, the visions I hold, the values I have, the dreams, and the parts of me that I don't necessarily like at times, that are very uncomfortable, the parts of me that are scared, that are anxious, that need love, that are looking for validation, that don't feel confident or feel insecure, or all these parts of me that I didn't want anybody to see, because I thought, oh my gosh, how am I going to be loved in these parts of myself if I let other people see me when I'm crying, when I'm mad, when I'm angry, when I'm hurt, when I'm feeling like I can't do anything, when I'm feeling anxious, when I'm scared. How are people still going to love me if they see this, and we don't want to show those parts of ourselves. We want to just show the good parts, the beautiful parts, the look at me, like I'm doing so good, like a child, like performing. And there was an interesting conversation that I just had with a coaching client, and she told me in the beginning, I almost canceled this meeting. I was like, really? And I was like, why? And she said, because I knew I was going to cry, because I'm so emotional and I'm having a lot of trouble right now in my life, and I don't know where I'm going. I can't understand myself. I'm very lost in my mind. I'm feeling like I'm not a good enough this, not a good enough that. I don't know where. And I was like, oh, interesting. I recognized myself instantly in what she said. And I saw myself in all the moments of my life where I was going through many emotions, and I felt so lost and in darkness, and just like I couldn't get out of it. and where I isolated, and I didn't want anybody to see that. I didn't want people to see me in those moments. I didn't want people to see the parts of me that weren't lovable, that I didn't judge were lovable. And so I would hide, I would isolate, I would cancel. There's so many things that I wanted to do or people that I wanted to see that I canceled last minutes in the days where I wasn't doing very well because I didn't want them to see me like this. I didn't want to cry. I didn't want to show them the darkest parts of me, and I didn't want to see them for myself. I didn't even want to look at them. Like how are we supposed to show these parts of ourselves in a circle or in with our friends or with our boyfriends or with our relationships if we're unable to even witness them ourselves? And it's been in this healing journey and in this breathwork journey of reconnecting to myself, of loving myself, even in the moments where I'm crying in a bathtub and I have no idea where my life is going, or even the moments where I can't sleep at night because I'm so up in my head. And even in those moments, can we hold ourselves? Can we love ourselves? Can we bring ourselves the softness and the love and the acceptance that we're not perfect and that this is these shadows that we're running away from is actually the medicine that is going to bring us so much more light, so much more freedom. And that's why when we're put in a relationship, I don't know if you guys are aware of like the attachment types, the anxious attachment versus the avoidant attachment. And I really resonate with the anxious attachment. And I know in my relationship, I've often attracted avoidant attachments because that's what I needed to see in order to heal. And I realized how I was also the avoidant because I was running away from relationships because I didn't want people to see me at my worst. I only wanted people to see me at my best. And then I arrived here 2 years ago asking to be seen by the next man that would be in my life. And I realized I wasn't even able to look at these parts of me. Like I wasn't even able to look at all parts of me. How are they supposed to see me if I can't even see myself? So I went on an inner journey of self-love in such beautiful yet triggering moments of my life of sitting in a small little apartment that I had rented, moving out of my family house and just arriving there all alone without my kids because I didn't have them 50% of the time. And at that moment in my life, my little boy was 1 year old and my other one was 3. I talk about it and I still have emotions because I could not even imagine being without these little boys 50% of my life. That in itself was a very, very, very hard journey and emotion for me to sit with myself in that little apartment and still trust that I had done the right choice, that I was on the right path because, oh my gosh, was it uncomfortable to feel those emotions and to be alone in that and to have to see myself in all of that and all of the pain that I had that I was avoiding or that I didn't want to feel because it was so uncomfortable in those moments. And in those 3 months, I just remember being in a season of loneliness, like really just having to sit with myself and feeling that loneliness and feeling that emotion of being alone and feeling what that brought up for me and loving myself in that because there was a little girl inside me that just wanted to run back to my family at so many moments, not because that's what I wanted in my heart, but because that's what felt safe. I just wanted to be with my boys and I just wanted to see them. I just wanted to feel whole and happy again. But then I had to go through the process of becoming whole and seeing myself and loving myself, especially in the moments when we don't want to look at that. So this all comes back to whether it's the anxious attachment or the avoidant attachment, what our heart wants is to be seen. It's to be seen. and to be loved in all those parts of ourselves. So just notice if when you're put in front of someone, you feel the need to be a certain way, to be liked, to say the things that they want to hear just so you feel accepted and liked. And notice if relationships maybe for you are quite triggering, because if you only want to show the most beautiful parts of yourself, if you only want to show the good or what you consider is strong and capable, and most of the time what we think is strong is to not cry, is to not be anxious, is to not fear, it's to not have all of these emotions. But every single human being on this planet has emotions like this. And if we're not able to come together in relationship and be seen in our deepest, darkest fears and cries and like unworthiness of, I don't know who I am, or I don't think I'm worthy, or I like, if we can't see that, then we're running away from the actual thing that will set us free. And there are so many times in my life where I ran away from the most difficult relationships or the most difficult conversations or the most difficult emotions within myself. And especially in relationship, because when you're in a relationship, it's like you have no choice but to move through it. It's like they're your mirror, and they're just going to trigger you in so many ways because they're mirroring so many things back to you. And it's like when you find yourself alone and isolated and just in your bubble, it's like you don't have to worry about that anymore. You can just be yourself, your sloppy self, and no one sees that. And then that's so interesting because, and sloppy, I mean like sloppy, like crying and a mess and like not necessarily very attractive right now, because you're a human and you have emotions, and this is what it is to be a human, you know? And then there was just a deep realization, bringing it back to the coaching. And it was like, at the end, this person said, I feel so much better. And I was like, yeah. And she's like, yeah, I feel so much better. I didn't want to come. I didn't want to be vulnerable. I didn't want to cry in front of you. I didn't want you to see this part of me. But now, feels so good. And it made me think, oh my gosh, this is exactly it. This is exactly it. It's like there's so many parts of us that we don't want to show because we're scared of being judged, because we're scared of not being liked, because we're scared of all the things. And it's like when we finally have the courage to let that guard down and be seen in everything that we are, this is where we find the freedom. And we're running away from the exact thing that will set us free when we're running away from our relationship, or avoiding the hard conversation, or avoiding the situations that are going to make us feel uncomfortable, because we're running away from the part of us that we don't want to feel and we don't want to see ourselves. And there's a part of me in that moment that was like, I'm done running. I've ran so much in my life. I don't want to run anymore. I want you to see me. And that is going to imply that you're going to see me in all of my beauty, but you're also going to see me crying. You're going to see me vulnerable. You're going to see me confused. You're going to see me angry. But if I can hold myself in love and all those emotions and share that with the world, what I see when I do that, especially in my in-person retreats and in my group circles online, is when I cry, because I cry all the time, everyone, it starts this wave of like, people just start crying when they start sharing. And I'm just like, interesting. Or when I share something that's been happening within my life that it's kind of vulnerable, and then the other person opens up and is like, I start seeing everything in that person, and I'm just like, that's so interesting. I had the impression I was speaking to like a wall, and now I'm just seeing you open, and I'm seeing the light in your eyes, and I'm seeing your cheeks become red, and like I'm seeing you alive. I'm seeing you in all your emotions. I'm seeing you here now. I'm not speaking to this filtered perfect person that's saying the right thing that everyone wants to hear in order to be liked. I'm speaking to you, soul to soul, heart to heart. And that is like the deepest desire of my soul since I've been a young little girl, is to be able to connect like truly with the people and to be seen in that within me. But in order for me to be seen in that, I had to see myself. I had to see myself in so many parts that I didn't want to see. And I think that it all starts there. So if this resonates, if you've recognized yourself going through hard emotions, dark periods of time, and you felt alone in that, you felt isolated, you felt like no one would understand you, or that you've had it worse than anybody else, that you were going crazy, that all the thoughts, I've thought them all, I swear. Just know that you're not alone. And that the day that you have the courage to be seen in that, to come into community, to come into relationships, whether it's with a man, a woman, a group of circle, like anywhere, when that fear of being seen comes up and it's like, oh my God, I'm so scared what people are going to think. I'm so scared he's going to not like me. I'm so scared he's going to reject me. I'm so scared he's going to abandon me. I'm so scared he's not going to love me, or he's going to choose someone else. Or sit with that fear and breathe and speak from that. Speak from the heart. Let yourself be seen in that. There is such a freeing sensation that comes on the other side of that when you've cried your tears and you've been seen in that by someone, and they've just sat there and held space for you to be that. There's so much magic in that. So this is the power of relationships. This is the power of community. This is why isolating has never been the way. It's like we need to be seen. We need to have this mirrored back to us so that we can see ourselves and we can come into community and relationship and be ourselves and be free in our relationships and be free inside our bodies and be free inside our minds and be free inside our lives. And oh my gosh, this cracked open so much for me in this beautiful conversation this morning. So I wanted to share that with you guys. So let's bring it back to how we can practically incorporate this in our lives. Next time you're experiencing, I'm going to call it like a yucky part of you. This is your judgment, right? I'm judging that this part of me is unlovable. It's yucky. I don't want anybody to see me in this. Breathe. Close your eyes, take a moment. Breathe into your heart and feel that emotion in your body. Locate it as a sensation. Where is this shame appearing in my body? Where is this anger appearing in my body? Where is this fear appearing in my body? Where? And breathe into that sensation. This is a practice I'm going to give you guys so often because the actual act of creating space around the emotion is what is going to allow you to love yourself in this, to create acceptance, forgiveness, love, self-love. Because that's what we're all looking for, right? It's to be loved, to feel loved, to feel love, because love is who we are. So yeah, just breathe into the heart. Know that you are safe to be seen in this, that you are safe to see yourself in this. Then speak from that sensation. And if that means speaking while your whole body shakes, if that means speaking while you cry, if that means speaking while you can't even talk because you're just so emotional, that is the way. That is the way. And there are so many moments in those moments in circles and coaching where people say, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. And I'm just like, we're not sorry. There's nothing to be sorry about. This is beautiful. I love you for this. Thank you for showing this to me. Because if you can show this to me, then you're mirroring back that I can show this to myself. And that is such a beautiful gift, to be able to feel, to be able to crack each other open so that we can be more free and more in love and more happy and more present and more here and alive, because this is what we are. We are alive and we are emotional beings, and there is nothing wrong with that. We don't have to be sorry for that. So yeah, breathe into the sensation, hold yourself with love, take a moment and speak from that, and see, just experience what that does for you in your life, in your relationships. And if you don't have any relationships, community, people who can see you on that level, just know that I offer one-on-one coaching, breath work. If that is something that interests you, if you need the extra support of being seen in a safe space, you can always reach out to me. I offer private sessions online. And there are so many other communities, places, environments that I offer for this and that other people offer. Choose your light, choose your love, choose your relationship, because it's so important to be seen in all that you are, in all your imperfect perfection, in all your multifaceted humanness. This is you. We want to see you and we want to love you in all of that. So thank you so much for being here, guys. If you want to share this with someone you feel could need this, share, comment. I love reading your comments. And I will see you next week. All right. Bye.